This is a really full-on week of energy. This is a really full-on week of astrology, and we're here to talk about it. My name is Louisa, and I run Imperial Goddess Diaries YouTube channel along with other pages as well. And we're going to be talking about the eclipse. We're going to talk about planetary changes, energy changes, and just shifts in humanity in general. So let's get started. First up this week, we had Pluto going direct. So Pluto basically goes retrograde about 6 months a year, which is not so much a personal thing, it's more of a collective thing. So you won't feel it internally. But what it means is that Pluto has gone back into its normal orbit in the sign of Capricorn. It will go back into Aquarius at the start of next year and will go back out of Aquarius again, back to Capricorn because it retrogrades so often. But here's what we can expect now that Pluto has gone direct. As we know, Pluto is a sign of power dynamics, deep transformation, and being in Capricorn, it is allowing us to look at our goals in a more constructive sort of way. How can we overcome certain battles that we've actually created or have been created for us? And how can we kind of dismantle those power dynamics and recreate something that's going to work for us? Because when Pluto's in a planet, Pluto is asking us to look at things from a new perspective, a deeper perspective, and go within us to be able to work out what we can do differently and what we can do within our own selves to make things work. Those who have been invested in their soul work may be looking at Pluto in a kind of way of, how can I reevaluate things that I have learned during this retrograde time? Because it is a time of slowing down and reevaluating. But what I say when Pluto is in the mix is just look at things from the perspective of change, and also look at how you can reevaluate yourself in what you've been learning as well during this time, especially for people who are jumping into their soul work, their purpose work, and use Capricorn, while it is still in Capricorn, use Capricorn to structure and organize and how you can perpetuate your goals and jump forward, because we know that Capricorn is a sign of status. It is a sign of, is a working sign. It gets it in there, it gets it done. It gets it done very, very well. So why can't we use, while it is still in Capricorn, let's use it while we can and cultivate what we have learned during this past time. Where have potential power struggles have come up even within us, within work that we've been conducting so far, and how we can integrate that back into purposeful soul work and work around any challenges that we have been facing. Like I just said before, it's less about struggling with the power, is more about dismantling it and going, oh, okay, like how can I work backwards, or how can I work around it to make it work for me, and how I can understand things just a little bit better. Also important that while it's going to be squaring Libra on the day of the eclipse on the 15th, very early in the morning, it's going to be squaring the eclipse. This is a sign of how we can integrate more balance into our dynamics, or into our work dynamics, into our soul dynamics, into our power dynamics. How can we start to balance out what we need in our life and use it to our advantage and put things in a structured, concrete, and functional way for us to be able to work properly? Now, everyone's going to have this square in different parts of their chart, and they're welcome to have a look at it, or you can even send me a DM and I can look into it for you, see where it's sitting in your chart. But it's going to indicate to you where you need to integrate more of this, more balance, more justice, more understanding in putting into your personal power and pushing it forward into something that's more structured and concrete. We know Capricorn loves to achieve things, it loves to reach its goals, and is always going to be working, it's always going to be moving forward. So it's use this as a positive time as much as it's going to be intense with all the other energies going on. But however, use this opportunity to push yourself forward in your goals. Now, after a very long time of Venus being in Leo, it has now moved into Virgo. Now, Venus doesn't love being in Virgo very much. It's not the most fruitful place for Venus to be. Venus loves more openness, more fun, more free flowing. It doesn't really like restriction. But it's important that when it goes into a sign like Virgo, it allows us to look at things under a little bit more of a microscope and take things into more consideration of where we may not be honoring ourselves fully, and where we can kind of make improvements in our self-value and also in our relationships. Where can we start putting some better belief systems in for how much we need to honor our own self-worth? Because these are very Venus-ruled eclipses that we're coming into, and it's really important for us to take a look at ourselves and also ourselves in relationships too. Where can we be a better version of ourselves in our own relationships? And also because Virgo loves to see where things can be better. It always is working for a better system, a better way of living, and a better way of understanding, and just better things in general. Like Virgo really loves to clean things up. So where can you clean things up in your own personal self, in your own belief systems, in your own value, and also in your relationships? Where is things not aligning for you in your relationships? Where are you lacking your own self-worth and self-value in your relationships around you? Where are you kind of letting yourself lose a little bit of your own essence and your sense of self? Because Libra loves to lose itself a little bit in love, because Libra does love, and it can kind of get lost in the idea of it and lost in the world of it and become a bit disillusioned in the reality of it. But while it's going to be sitting in Virgo, it's going to allow us to just pinpoint things like, oh, I just don't think that's right for me. Maybe those little icks that's been sitting at you for a while, that's been niggling away at you about something in your relationships or even about yourself, Virgo will highlight them a lot more during this time. Venus in Virgo is going to be sitting directly opposite Saturn in Pisces. So they are opposite signs, one and the other. It's like anything in the chart. If it's the opposite sign, it is its opposite sign. So whatever that sign has, the other sign will come in and go, hey, these are maybe the things that you need to be working with. Now, because Pisces is more of a free-flowing sign, a little bit more nurturing, more loving, more open, and Venus in Virgo is going to be a little bit more rigid. Now, why don't we use that Saturn Pisces, to kind of integrate and take a little bit of time for ourselves, and also make space for ourselves where we have potentially gone a little bit too far in not honoring our own self-worth, and giving ourselves the opportunity to kind of be like, it's okay for these belief systems that I've had. It's okay for how much I've lacked my own self-worth, how much I haven't been honoring who I am. And Saturn is all about responsibility. It's all about taking responsibility and the things that we need to be doing. So it's also kind of helping Virgo in a way, and while Pisces is also nurturing Venus in a way. The two more harsher, more analytical signs, and planets working with a softer planets and signs as well. So they're kind of a little bit, they're yin and yanging each other very much, but it's very, very supportive. Remember, Saturn is not scary by any means, and neither is Virgo, but they are here to just make shit work and make you understand what you're doing a little bit clearer. Let's discuss this eclipse, because this is one of the big reasons why we have been seeing such a massive shift in energies. And this is a big reason why we have been rearing up for it, because this eclipse is massive. Now, a solar eclipse is happening on Sunday morning if you live in Australia, it's gonna be about 5:12 a.m. to the exact 21 degrees. We may not see it because I believe that sunrise in Queensland is probably not till like 5:30. Anyway, so eclipses happen when the nodes are in very, very close proximity to the moon. So when the moon is on the nodal axis, that's where we're going to be experiencing eclipses. We're going to be experiencing radical changes and drastic illumination of the shit that we need to be working on. And because it's in the sign of Libra, and Libra is all about love, it's also about like the self, it's about unity, it's about balance. We're going to be looking at all the shadow aspects of that during this eclipse time. So wherever this is in your chart specifically, or even in general for you, the things that we need to look out for is, like I've mentioned before, with the Pluto aspect, because Pluto is actually squaring this. So like I said before, Pluto is coming into play. But where have you not been honoring your true self? Where have you gone down in people-pleasing tendencies? Where have you been lacking yourself in your relationships and just kind of sitting there out of comfortability in the hopes that it's going to work out? Because it's not going to work out. A lot of the time it's not. If you're lying to yourself constantly, it's probably not going to work out. Also, we need to remember that Mercury is in very close proximity to this eclipse season. So it's like 17 degrees, and so I'm just looking at my chart, 17 degrees, and then the moon and the sun are 21 degrees. So it's very close proximity in conjunction. So Mercury is all about our communication. And when it is in Libra, Mercury in Libra is all about a balanced level of communication and understanding between both parties, much like what Libra does. Libra loves to know both sides. It's such a beauty of the sign. It's so diplomatic, and it's so understanding of everything that kind of goes on. So when it comes into this play, it's also going to be doing a lot of the things with our mind. It's going to be allowing our mind to think about things a little bit more in a way of where are we going to weigh up what's been happening within our own lives? Where are we going to weigh up what's going on within us? Where have we been out of balance with ourselves? Because this is very of the self. And when we think about how we've been out of balance in ourselves, it filters through in our relationships too. So just remember that how you treat yourself and how you've been conducting yourself will filter into your relationships, and your relationships are always a direct reflection of you and how you have been conducting your inner world. Eclipses are nothing to be afraid of in a lot of ancient civilizations, because the moon literally covered the sun and created darkness. So that was quite scary for a lot of people, and they had no idea what was going on. it is just a time of introspection as well. And I know there's so many astrological movements that happen that are times of introspection, but without introspection, we aren't able to grow. That's basically what it is. Without understanding our inner world, we can't really understand our outer world. And as we more ignore our inner world, we are going to be faced with harsher experiences during astrological transits. If we are less open to anything that's going on in the outside world and just moving along without acknowledging anything that's going on the inside, things just will keep unraveling for you. Things will keep unraveling in the most uncomfortable way, forcing you to look at them. But when you are open to understanding astrological placements like this, and it comes even down to your own healing too, when you're open to understanding more of you, why you are the way you are, why you've been conducting yourself the way you are. This may not even be about you. This may not even be beliefs that you've inherently had within you. They're always outside. Your interpersonal relationships have caused you potentially to have these sorts of systems and beliefs about yourself. But without times of introspection, we'll never get to know any of that. With times of uncomfortability, we won't get to know our full selves. We can't keep just blocking things off and just thinking that we're going to get through life, because you'll just fall away from any aligned human beings in your life, and you'll just keep attracting, and I don't like to say this, lower vibrational, low level people, and you just won't feel like it's so much more difficult there. It's so much more difficult when you're around unaware. How difficult is it when you're with unaware people? I have encountered so many unaware, selfish people who just don't want to do the inner work because they think it's weak, or they think they don't need to. You all need to do inner work. You all need to have introspection. You all even just sit down. I know it's cliche. Write some things down that's been on your mind. You might find that you'll realize, oh my God, I kind of never knew that I wrote that, kind of knew that I felt that. And because even Libra loves creativity. Libra is quite creative. Libra loves the arts. This is a really good time to journal. I know it sounds cliche, but it actually is. This is also not a time to manifest. I say this a lot. I don't manifest during the full moon. I let the moon do its fucking thing. She just rolls in however she wants, shows me what I need to be shown, and that's it. And I learn from it, I move on. Just don't manifest during eclipse season. This 2-week period, don't. We are consciously manifesting or unconsciously manifesting just things in our daily life, but any big things, big changes, big loves, big money, big career, big house, things. When you manifest things during an eclipse season, it's just kind of like lighting a fire with a bunch of gasoline in it. It's unpredictable. You don't know what you're going to get. Big explosions, crazy shit going on. It's not going to end up the way that you want. It's going to be distorted. It's going to be uncomfortable. It's just such an unpredictable energy time. It's not a time to create. This is a time to integrate. Rhyming. This is also a very important time to be really, really real with yourself. Really maintain authenticity during this time. Authenticity is a very, very high vibration. It's a vibration that not a lot of people have. Because if you get down to it, how many things that you really are inauthentic about in your outside world? Or how many things you don't really admit to people? How hard is it to admit things to people that you don't really want to talk about? Very difficult. It's very personal. I get it. But authenticity is so important, which is something that Libra can lack very, very quickly. Have you noticed that Librans will just say yes to things that they don't really like? And you can and if you know one very, very well, and I've known a lot of Libras in my time, I know them really well, I can tell when they say, oh yeah, to something that they just don't like. That's not authentic. This is teaching you, where can you be authentic? Squaring Pluto. Where can you take your power back? It's uncomfortable. This is not a comfortable time. But we're not supposed to be comfortable all the time. Yes, things are meant to be easy, but they're not meant to be comfortable all the time. It's how we look at it and perceive that uncomfortability through a different lens. You can view it as positive, or you can view it as negative. If you view it as positive, then you can learn what you need to understand. You can integrate it, pull it into your world, learn from it, see what you need to do, and move on. That's what you're supposed to do. You can alchemize the uncomfortable nature. But if you label it as negative, it's going to be labeled as negative. You can't move forward with it, and you dwell on it. It's not going to be as easy to kind of free flow. It is meant to free flow, but it's always going to ebb and flow from uncomfortable to comfortable, because that's not the point of life. The point of life is not just to be comfortable the whole time. We're not meant to. It's like this. It's way more interesting like this. How many stories do you have of your life going like this? Way more. Off on tangents, but that's okay. This eclipse season, very important, very Venus-based, because the next eclipse is going to be in Taurus. Now, the Scorpio-Taurus axis has left. Thank God, because it was both in my moon sign and my rising sign. So I was pumped for 18 months. Now, because Taurus is going to be towards the back end of October, back in October, which is in Scorpio season, because Scorpio and Taurus are opposites, and the moon is going to be, I think, very late degrees. Anyway, I'll work it out. Very Venus orientated. Remember that. Everything is going to be very Venus. Venus is like I said, our self-worth, our comfortability, our material, our money, and our relationships. Taurus is a little bit more material, loves arts, loves pretty things, loves to be creative, loves money, loves security. It's going to rock our world. It's going to rock our material world, our image, what we look like, where can we either make adjustments, or it's not about external adjustments. It's about our internal dialogue of what we think of, the way that we look, the way that we perceive ourselves potentially as well. And also it's going to rock the way that we even look at money, the way that we look at all of our surroundings. Are we still being inauthentic? Authenticity is strong. I know authenticity applies to everything, but authenticity is really, really important for you to fully be able to just be present in this world and be present within you, because the world needs more authentic, present people. There is just so much inauthenticity in this world. It is crazy. There's so much inauthenticity in even like the spiritual space. We can all see them. They all exist. It's very out in the open. There's a lot of inauthenticity in the conscious space. Very, very much there. A lot of them I don't find are authentic to their true selves at all. Maybe doing some good humanity work, but at what cost? And this is going to be coming out very soon. A lot of the light is going to be shone on these people. Do you want to be one of these people that every shine the spotlight on? It's just like, bitch, you're fake. Sorry to be brutal, but it's true. It's very true. Anyways, so just remember just to keep calm. Everything's going to be fine. Nothing's going to happen in that, in that way to you, but just allow whatever to come up and to show you it's important. It's going to be happening 3 days before, 3 days after. The energy is going to be rolling, the intensity of this specific new moon, and the 2 weeks that it rolls until the full moon. No manifesting. I just, go against it. Obviously use your own discernment. I just would always suggest against it. Sit with yourself, ground yourself. It's really important to ground during this time. I've just been told that I need to ground more, so I have to do that. And just allow it to come through. Just remember, things are not meant to always be comfortable, but they are meant to be flowy and easy. So how can you flow through this in a way that's going to work for you, and why you can still learn things? If you stay in your head too much, you're just going to be stuck there. You're just always stuck. But cast your perspective out. Cast your perspective out on your outside world. How is that reflecting to you? Really, really important. Really important to have some perspective. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope you guys get a lot out of it. Like and subscribe. And you're also welcome to follow all my other accounts, because I post really great content. I know, it's just fun. Anyways, have the best day.